you will get a bit of a bump and a splash. Now, people that are sitting right up close to the front, you'll feel it probably the most. People in the back, not so much. Now, I will be able to warn you if you are inside the cabin, but unfortunately, if you're on the back deck, you will not be able to hear my warning. So, as you're out on the back deck, please pay attention to the port side. That's the left-hand side of the boat. This is the side that you'll see the boats coming from. You'll be able to see the boat before we cross into their wake. Some people like to raise their hands during the wake crossing. It's my favorite part. A bit of a roller coaster. Some people say it's like whitewater rafting without getting wet. So we're finished with our safety speech for now. If you guys would like to head out on the back deck, you're more than welcome to, but we do ask again 8 to 10 people. And as well, if you are heading out there, please make sure that you shut the back door, just because our engines are back there and the exhaust can start to fill the cabin and it doesn't smell too good. So we'll keep the nice clean mountain air inside the cabin. So we've got a couple of fishermen out here today. Looks a little bit like a canoe, but it's actually called a freighter canoe. It's much larger than your standard canoe. It has a flat back, so you can put an engine on the back. Now, just in terms of engines, we are in a national park, and normally you would not be able to have a combustible engine running on a lake. We are the exception to this rule, though. This is because we were actually in operation here. We started in 1928, before this became a part of the national park. We had the Forest Reserve, which was around the Jasper town site, which was known as Fitzhugh back then. And then in 1930, because of Maligne Lake and the people that were running it back then, this area was added into the national park. So technically what they like to call it is we've been grandfathered in, or grandfather clause. So again, we were in operation before it was a national park. But we do have restrictions imposed upon us by Parks Canada. We have a very specific line we have to take on the lake as to not disrupt the shoreline in certain areas, as well as a restriction on our hours of operation. We're also only allowed to go 14 of the 22 kilometers down the lake. That'll be our end point for today, Spirit Island. Those remaining 8 kilometers are what's called pristine wilderness zone. So only the warden in his combustible engine or speedboat are allowed to go down there, or any fishermen that have an electric battery-powered trolling motor are allowed to go down there, or any regular paddler, canoe, rowboat, or kayak. Now, do we have any questions to start things off? Yes?
What sort of fish can I catch here?
What sort of fish? Very good question. We have 2 types of fish that are found here in Maligne Lake, eastern brook trout and rainbow trout. Now, Maligne Lake is a glacially fed lake, so 90% of the water that we'll find here in the lake is meltwater from the glaciers. The remaining 10% comes from melting snow and ice from the previous winter's accumulation. So it's no